Well, good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name's Richard Cruz, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Warrant Officer Class 1 Shane McKay, who has served as the Regimental Sergeant Major Ceremonial of the Australian Defence Force for the past 18 months, and who will shortly read the Roll of Honour story of Sergeant Elton Ronald McKay. Warrant Officer McKay has coordinated a significant number of Centenary of Anzac ceremonial duties for the Australian Defence Force, and in particular Australia's Federation Guard, internationally and in Australia, and significantly here at the Australian War Memorial, where Shane is the ADF coordinator for all major ceremonies, including the last post ceremony. Today marks his last day in the Australian Army before heading into a new civilian position. On behalf of the Director and staff here at the Australian War Memorial, but particularly from the Commemoration and Visitor Engagement section, we sincerely thank you, Shane, for your professionalism and dedication to ensuring the highest standards of commemoration and collaboration between the Australian War Memorial and the Australian Defence Force. The success of this relationship is in no small measure attributed to Shane, who personifies the Army values of courage, initiative, respect and teamwork. Shane, you continue to serve your nation with distinction, as you have done for the last 30 years. We wish you every success in your civilian position, and we thank you and your wife Leanne and family for your service to the nation. We welcome Mr John King, ACT President of the Returned and Services League of Australia. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony around Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. Australia's Federation Guard is a tri-service ceremonial unit of the Australian Defence Force. They provide a ceremonial presence at civil and military events and during visits to Australia by foreign dignitaries. The Guard will now enter the commemorative area and replicate the drill of a catapult party placed around the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier.
Catapult party, quick, march. Party outwards. Turn. Catapult party present. Arms. Catapult party reverse. Catapult party rest on.
This evening, the catapult party provided by Australia's Federation Guard is very unique. The soldiers on parade are all from the Royal Australian Regiment, otherwise known as the Infantry Corps. This catapult party has been specifically organised by the Australian Federation Guard in appreciation of Warrant Officer McKay's 30 years of service to the Royal Australian Regiment and to the Army. Could I ask you to please stand and join in singing the National Anthem?
Catapult Party attention. Catapult Party present. Arms.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is earth by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every state advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Catapult Party shoulder. Arms.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this National Memorial and Museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we pay tribute to Sergeant Elton Ronald McKay. Born in Brisbane on 18 March 1917, Elton McKay was the son of John Patrick McKay and Lydia Ivy McKay. When Elton was young, his parents separated. He grew up with his mother in Queensland and attended the Southport School. A keen sportsman, he played football, tennis, and was a keen golfer and swimmer. Following school, McKay worked as a clerk for the Bowden Pearling Company on Thursday Island in the Torres Strait, where his mother was a domestic. When Thursday Island became the military headquarters for the Torres Strait and a base for Australian and US forces, the civilians were evacuated from the island. McKay and his mother went to Carnegie, Victoria, to live with McKay's aunt. On the 19th of July 1941, McKay enlisted into the Royal Australian Air Force. He commenced training as a pilot, and in June 1942, he embarked from Sydney for overseas service. As part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, McKay was one of almost 27,500 RAAF pilots, navigators, wireless operators, gunners and engineers who, throughout the course of the war, joined squadrons based in Britain. Arriving in Britain in late August, McKay undertook further specialist training before his posting in January 1943 to 611 Squadron, Royal Air Force. 611 Squadron was a Spitfire squadron based at RAF Station Biggin Hill. On the morning of 27th of January, McKay and fellow Australian, Sergeant John Gilbert, were participating in camera gun practice. Shortly after takeoff, McKay's Spitfire stalled mid-air, colliding with Gilbert's. The Spitfires crashed near Westerham Waterworks, and Gilbert and McKay were killed. McKay was 25 years old. He had only been with the squadron for a few weeks. His body was buried alongside that of John Gilbert's in the St Mary's Cray Cemetery at Orpington. After receiving news of the death of her son, McKay's mother joined the Women's Auxiliary Australian Air Force, serving as an aircraft woman. McKay's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, amongst some 40,000 Australians who died whilst serving in the Second World War. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Sergeant Elton Ronald McKay, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Could I ask you to please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Catapult party present. Arms. shoulder, arms.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget.
Catapult party outwards. Turn. Catapult party, whip, arch.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.